Looks like we're diving into the world of annuities today. And from the looks of it, you're really zeroing in on those tax implications, especially with Roth conversions and, oh, that new 10-year rule. Sounds like a lot to unpack.
Yeah, annuities can seem pretty complex when you start factoring in taxes. But hey, good on you for being proactive about it.
You bet. Definitely better to be ahead of the game than playing catch-up later.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to something as important as your retirement savings.
Exactly. So you sent over a bunch of articles and some notes, and wow, you've really been doing your homework. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, though, maybe we should start with a quick breakdown of the basics.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole qualified versus non-qualified thing with annuities. Why does that even matter when we're talking taxes?
Well, think about it this way. With a qualified annuity, it's kind of like your 401k. You know how you get a tax break now, but you'll pay taxes later when you start taking money out in retirement.
Yeah, it's sort of like delaying the inevitable.
Exactly. You're basically kicking the can down the road a bit. Now, with a non-qualified annuity, it's a bit different. You're using money you've already paid taxes on. So the cool thing is when you take money out, only the earnings get taxed. That original money you put in, the IRS can't touch that.
Ah, I see. That definitely sounds like a win-win, especially if you think you'll be in a lower tax bracket later on down the road.
You got it. And that's where this whole LIFO thing comes in.
LIFO, man, that sounds like something out of a logistics textbook, not a financial planning guide. What's that all about?
Aha, I know, right? It stands for last in, first out. Imagine you've got your fridge stocked with milk. You buy a new carton every week. When you need milk, you grab the newest one first, yeah. Well, with LIFO, the newest earnings in your annuity are the first ones to get taxed when you take money out.
Okay. I think I'm starting to see how this can get a bit strategic. And speaking of strategic, let's talk about Roth conversions. You mentioned those in your notes. What's the deal with those?
Roth conversions, well, they can be pretty powerful, especially if you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket in the future. You know, like you're saying in your notes, it's basically paying those taxes up front, maybe at a lower rate, so you don't get hit with a bigger bill later on when you're taking withdrawals.
That makes a lot of sense. But, and maybe this is a dumb question, doesn't that only work with qualified annuities? Like the ones in your IRA or 401k?
You're absolutely right. You can't convert a non-qualified annuity into a Roth IRA.
Gotcha. So what happens when a Roth conversion isn't an option, say, with a non-qualified annuity? What are some strategies there?
Well, that's where it becomes even more important to be smart about when and how you take withdrawals. Remember how we were talking about how your original contributions to a non-qualified annuity are tax-free? If you focus on taking those out first, you can really keep your tax bill down.
That makes sense. So it's like prioritize those tax-free withdrawals early on.
Got it. Okay, so let's switch gears a bit here. I saw you were also curious about these stretch annuities.
Ah, yes. Thinking about legacy, huh? Right. Leaving something for the kids. And then there's a Secure Act 2.0 thing. And, well, it all just seems a bit complicated, to be honest.
It can be, for sure. Stretch annuities used to be a really neat way to, pass on wealth to your beneficiaries. Think of it like a slow, steady stream of income over their lifetime rather than like a big lump sum all at once. And that helped a lot with keeping their taxes down, too.
That definitely sounds beneficial. But then the Secure Act 2.0 came along with this new 10-year rule, right?
Yeah, that's right. Now, for anyone who isn't your spouse, they have to take all the money out of an inherited annuity within 10 years. And that applies to both qualified and non-qualified annuities. Definitely a game changer.
So in your notes, you were wondering how this 10-year rule might impact your own estate planning. What are some of the things you should be thinking about there?
Well, it really depends on the specifics of the annuity and what your beneficiary's financial situation looks like. For some folks, it might mean they end up paying a bigger chunk of taxes sooner than they planned. But on the flip side, it's a good opportunity to be proactive and really think strategically about your estate plan.
You know, as we're going through all this, it really hits home just how much goes into making annuities work for you. It's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Definitely not. It's got to be tailored to your own personal situation, and that can change over time. And, tax laws change too.
Exactly. There are a lot of moving parts. So to wrap things up, what would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners today?
Well, I'd say annuities can be a really powerful tool for building that nest egg and making sure your future is secure, but you've really got to have a plan, a smart plan that's tailored to you and takes taxes into account.
Couldn't agree more. And, you don't have to go it alone. Talking to a financial advisor who really knows their stuff about annuities, that can make all the difference.
Absolutely. Find someone you trust who can help you navigate all the ins and outs.
Great advice. And one last thing for everyone listening out there. Just something to ponder. What if those tax rates on regular income, what we all pay, what if they really shot up in the future? How would that affect your annuity strategy, especially with those Roth conversions? Something to keep in mind as you continue exploring all things annuities.
That's a great point. Really makes you think.
Well, I think that about wraps things up for our deep dive today. Thanks for sending in all your questions and happy investing, everyone.
Thanks for having me. And remember, stay informed and stay proactive.